Hey guys, it's Noah Dorrance and Chris Nelson. We're both with Crush Pad in San Francisco. And today we're going to press a little Chardonnay. So Chris, what do you have here?
I have some Chardonnay, the old Winty clone from vines planted in 1974 from the Santa Lucia Highlands. The Lone Oak Vineyard is just one of the many great vineyards we'll be using in this project. Today you're going to see these grapes moved into our press and then gently squeezed. And we're going to take the juice and we're going to prep it for fermentation. This would be the sun side, where you can see it's a little bit sunburned. And this will be the shade side, where you get a little bit more of a bright green berry. This side's gonna have a little more acidity and less of the sort of tropical flavors we're looking for, like pineapple, grapefruit, maybe a hint of apricot, and they certainly do. And so when you're looking at Chardonnay, deciding when to pick, you wanna look at the clusters that have a lot of greenness in them still, and the ones that are certainly nice and sunburned. And it's kind of a balancing act.
Great. A little grape cluster basketball.
Yes.
What are you doing right now?
Just sanitizing this rake. Okay, we did it. So this is a bladder press. It's a pretty standard press. Once it rotates on its axis, the bladder will be on the top. The air will gently fill and squeeze down on the grapes, and the juice will come out of these little slits. Here we go. We're gonna start the press. Fledgling wine, take one.
So we have about 1 ton of grapes in here right now. How long is it going to take to press that?
It takes about 2.5 hours to press this load of grapes. It's not the prettiest looking juice. It kind of looks like a muddy river. What we're going to do is allow this sort of muddy looking juice to settle out in a tank over 48 hours. And we're going to rack off the leaves, the dirt, all this stuff, this heavy stuff is going to settle to the bottom of the tank. We're going to be left with clear juice that we're going to then rack into a barrel, and the fermentation is actually going to take place in the barrel. This is what our juice looks like right now coming out of the pan, and this is what a racked juice will look like before the fermentation starts. It's much cleaner, much clearer. White wines are fermented much differently than red wines. White wines are fermented just the juice, no skin contact, whereas the red grapes that we saw with the Pinot Noir, we want to get as much contact with the skins as possible because that's where all the flavors are. But the opposite is true with white grapes, where we're pressing the grapes right away. There's no skin contact. And this fermentation is going to take about 30 days.
I see we've got a whole bunch of Chardonnay juice now in this tray. What are we going to do with it? How do we get it out of here?
So right now I've hooked up a pump that's going to move the juice as gently as possible to this tank. Okay, so here we are. We finished pressing our Chardonnay. And all those whole clusters we threw in there, basically the berries have been removed from the stems, essentially. We pressed them dry. There's basically nothing left in here. There's a little bit of moisture. I mean, we haven't made a big brick or a big cake like I talked about. We wanted to press gently. So that's part of, you can tell that the berries have separated from the stems. So it takes a couple hours, but this is really what we want to see. It means we press them really perfectly.